we at the Foreign Visitors View YouTube channel invite you to the south of Germany, to a city whose name means the place where linden trees grow.
Lindau is a historic town on a small island in the eastern part of Lake Constance. For over 1,000 years, Lindau has been a midpoint of the trade route between Nuremberg and Milano.
We visited Lindau on our way between Munich and Liechtenstein. In the morning, we visited the Munich Museum of Technology.
Then we stopped to see Neuschwanstein Castle in the foothills of the Alps. We visited several German towns along the way and reached Lindau.
And in the evening, we found ourselves in the Austrian city of Feldkirch.
We invite you to take a look at it.
The next morning, we got to Liechtenstein, and you can visit it together with us.
Lindau Island is connected to the lake shore by a bridge and, since 1853, by a railway embankment.
After driving across the bridge, we got into a parking lot. If you watch to the end, you will find out what surprises can await travelers in such places.
The history of Lindau begins with an abbey. It was mentioned as early as 882. It was a monastic island. The monastery was intended for secular canonices, women who had retired from the world without traditional monastic vows.
These were times when Christianity had not yet divided into Western and Eastern, that is, Catholicism and Orthodoxy.
And before the Holy Roman Empire arose on part of the territory of the Roman Empire.
The convenient location at the crossroads of trade routes led to the creation of a popular market. In 1275, the founder of the Royal Habsburg dynasty, Rudolf I, granted the settlement the rights of a free imperial city.
Such cities developed without having fiscal obligations to local feudal lords, but only to the emperor.
The related term, Magdeburg rights, denoted the special status of cities, especially in Central and Eastern Europe.
After the collapse of the Holy Roman Empire, Lindau became part of Bavaria in 1805, and in 1871, along with Bavaria, it became part of Germany.
Fortunately, the old town was not damaged during the Second World War. French troops occupied Lindau without a fight, and everything here has been preserved.
Almost immediately upon entering the island, we see two churches. The Catholic Church of Our Lady is the former cathedral of the Lindau Abbey, known since the 9th century. The current parish church was built in the mid-18th century in the Rococo style.
This part of the world is rich in stories related to the Reformation and Counter-Reformation.
Although the city of Lindau adopted Protestantism in 1828 in accordance with the Augsburg's Confession, it is emphasized that Lindau Abbey remained Catholic even at that time.
The Evangelical Church of St. Stephen is the largest in the city.
As it often happens, churches of different denominations are located very close to each other, a Protestant one opposite a Catholic one, as if competing for parishioners.
However, the Church of St. Stephen itself appeared here long before Protestantism.
It was built as a parish church in 1180. The current building was built at the end of the 18th century in the Baroque style.
The onion-shaped tower is 58 meters high.
The large bell was cast in 1608, but it cracked 4 times. The first 3 times the crack was welded, and then a new bell was cast. The unusable bell is displayed in front of the western gable. It depicts the coats of arms of Lindau and other imperial cities.
In the market square next to these 2 churches, there is a fountain with a statue of Neptune.
There is also a city museum here. It is located in a Baroque-style building and is decorated with facade paintings.
Soon we find ourselves on Maximianstrasse. This is the main street of the city.
However, there are options as to which Maximilian the street is dedicated to. This name was popular among the kings.
Maximilian I, Holy Roman Emperor of the 15th and 16th centuries, expanded the empire and strengthened the power of the Habsburgs.
After the dissolution of the Holy Roman Empire and Bavaria became independent, its first king's name was also Maximilian I Joseph.
It is believed that the street is named after him.
However, no less significant a role was played by the King of Bavaria, Maximilian II.
He turned Lindau into the main port of the Bavarian kingdom.
He is considered a patron of science and an early mountaineer. There is a monument to him in Munich.
The old town hall is on the same street called Maximianstrasse.
It has a Renaissance painted facade from the mid-16th century and ancient bells.
The southern side was painted in the 19th century with frescoes illustrating the history of the city.
The new town hall is right next to the old town hall. At 11:45 in the morning, the carillon sounds here, and we will listen to it too.
Since 1655, a children's festival has taken place in Lindau on the fourth Wednesday in July. It is called Lindauer Kinderfest.
It was first held for children whose parents died during the 30 Years' War, fought between Protestants and Catholics in the Holy Roman Empire from 1618 to 1648. It was the last major religious war in Europe.
As a result of its completion, the Westphalian system of international relations was formed in Europe, which consolidated the priority of national interests and the use of diplomacy in international relations.
Girls traditionally come to this holiday wearing flower wreaths and carrying baskets. Maximianstrasse is part of the pedestrian zone and the main street of the city.
Here you can see well-preserved houses from the 16th and 17th centuries. They are decorated with arcades, gazebos, attics, carved windows and bay windows.
The plastered half-timbered facade served to save wood and for fire protection.
Maximilianstrasse approaches the railway with a bridge over it. The building next to which you need to climb the bridge is the Art Museum.
The building is whimsically decorated and looks similar to the nearby train station.
Lindau railway station has been in operation since 1853. The current building was built at the beginning of the 20th century in the Art Nouveau style. Its facade is decorated with Art Nouveau elements.
From the bridge over the railway, you can see the Church of St. Peter. It is the oldest in the city, built by fishermen and dedicated to their patron saint.
Nearby we see the Diebsturm, Thief's Tower.
This round tower was built in the 14th century as part of the city's fortifications.
It has an octagonal pointed dome. It is surrounded by 4 hexagonal corner towers.
For a long time it was a prison. That is why the tower got its name, Thief's Tower.
There are several hotels and clinics on the other side of the railway. In April each year, almost 4,000 psychotherapists come to Lindau to participate in psychotherapeutic weeks.
Observing Lake Constance brings to mind a variety of thoughts about the fate of Europe. For example, about the numerous German principalities fighting each other in the Middle Ages.
By the way, reminding of feudal fragmentation, a powder tower stands on the shore. However, now it is used for events and celebrations.
On the opposite shore of Lake Constance from Lindau, the Rhine River flows into it. It is believed that the river that flows out of the lake is also the Rhine.
In general, from a hydrographic point of view, if a river flows into a lake and flows out, then these are different rivers. But in this case, they are considered to be parts of the same river. The cold grey waters of the Alpine Rhine do not initially mix with the warm green waters of the lake. This is clearly visible in the aerial photo, but then the denser waters of the river descend to the depths and rise to the surface near Lindau. Then the flow goes along the northern shore of the lake to reach Germany and the Netherlands.
Currently, 3 German-speaking countries are neighbors on the shores of Lake Constance. These are Germany, Austria and Switzerland. And one more is very close. It is Liechtenstein. In some languages descending from Latin, for example Spanish, hermano means brother. That is, all people living to the north were simply brothers to the Romans. And now in most Romance languages Germany is called Alemania, and the word Aleman simply means all people.
There is also an adult education center here. The same building hosts a free school where children learn about diversity.
Next to it, 2 Atlantas are holding huge balls instead of the sky. This is another element of the Rococo style which is abundant in this part of the world.
From the tip of the island, one can see interesting buildings on the shore. The Bad Schacken-Lido Health Resort was conceived in the spirit of the life reform movement.
It was an alternative to the gender-segregated baths of the imperial era.
It aims to combine architecture and nature for maximum bathing pleasure.
We cross the railway again and approach the southern coast of the island.
The medieval Mankturm Tower is 20 meters high, has a square cross-section and an extended upper floor. From 1180 to 1856 it served as a lighthouse.
In 1856 a new port and a lighthouse were built in Lindau. It is the southernmost lighthouse in Germany and the only one in Bavaria.
At the entrance to the port there is a statue of the Bavarian lion, 6 meters high and weighing 50 tons. The lion carefully examines each ship entering the port.
Lindavia Fountain at the Reichsplatz was opened in 1884. This symbol of the city stands on a high pedestal. The bronze figures around it symbolize the sources of Lindau's wealth: shipping, fishing, viticulture and agriculture.
The city theatre was rebuilt from a Franciscan church built in the 14th century.
Here we see the barracks built by Maximian, and various buildings with drawings and inscriptions on the walls.
Most of the other buildings around are shops, cafes or hotels. There are many hotels and they are not empty, because many interesting events take place in Lindau.
Every summer, Lindau hosts a week-long meeting of 30 to 40 Nobel laureates with 500 to 600 young scientists.
Having looked around the historical part of the city, we return to the parking lot. But it turns out that there is nowhere to pay the ticket we received at the entrance.
On the barrier, we find a small sign that the exit ticket must be obtained at some casino. But we didn't plan to gamble. We had to exit along the pedestrian paths of the park. Now we are driving just through the park. It's wrong, of course. Well, what can we do about this? Now we are moving up to the place where we tried to exit. Everything is fine. Yeah, okay. If you thought that we would not handle it, you were wrong. What an adventure! Well, there will be something to remember. Everything seemed fine. We have already learned how to pay for parking everywhere.
These are the kinds of traps that travelers can get into. Therefore, we recommend learning foreign languages and carefully reading everything that is written on the signs. And now we know that in Germany the sign Spielbank means gaming bank, that is, casino, and it is better not to play with such a bank.
Now your guides,
Konstantin Krasovsky
and Tatiana Andreeva, go to Austria and Liechtenstein.
First to Feldkirch and then to Innsbruck. Come with us!
Subscribe to the channel Foreign Visitors View, put thumbs up and share links with your friends. See you in some other city or country.